Hello Year 3, and here is your last science lesson of our unit. Okay, here comes the screen. So a little bit of a recap to begin with. A couple of questions for you to answer. So what is a function of the skeleton? We learnt about this last time. The skeleton has 3 different functions. What are they? Can you name one? And then another and another. Okay, have you got them? Okay, so first of all, we need our skeleton for support. We need our skeleton for protection. And we need our skeleton for movement. Okay, well done if you've got all 3 of those. Okay, another question coming up. Okay, sorry, no partners at the moment at home, but maybe tell somebody in the room. Can you tell somebody 5 bones that are in the human skeleton? Okay, can you use the common name or maybe the scientific name? Okay, if you've got 5 bones, goodness, there are so many to choose from. Can you remember how many? 206 in an adult body. Okay, maybe you picked ones that are your favorite. So maybe the skull, or the scientific name is the cranium. Okay, do you remember what this one is? Which bone is here? This is your jawbone or mandible for the scientific name. Okay, your fingers, those are your phalanges. And then in your hand, you have your carpals and metacarpals. In your arm, you have your forearm bones, ulnar and radius. This is your humerus up here. Across the top, your collarbone or clavicle. Down the back, shoulder blades or scapula. Okay, what's the bones that go from underneath your skull all the way down to the top of your bottom? Okay, that's your spine or your vertebral column. Well done, made up of individual vertebrae. You've got your ribs. Okay, and this bone in the middle, you're protecting your heart, is your sternum. Hips or pelvis. And then down into your legs, you've got your femur, longest bone in the body. And then underneath that, you've got your tibia and fibula or shin bones. And then into your feet, you have your tarsals and metatarsals. And then your toes are like your fingers. Those are your phalanges. Okay, oh, that was very quick recap on those. Okay, well done if you managed to name 5 or more of those bones. Okay, let's have a look at today. So last lesson today, like I said, and today we're concentrating on movement and what makes us move. So we know the skeleton is essential for movement of our bodies, but we also need something to help the skeleton move, and those are your muscles. So we're looking at muscles today. Okay, so there's today's date and the what. So if you'd like to write those down, just pause the recording while you do that. So the what today is to know why we need muscles to move and investigate their use. Okay, you're going to need to use your own bodies today for a little investigation, but also you might need your arm to help you investigate muscles as well. Okay, so quite a few success criteria today. So we've got, I can explain how muscles allow movement. You can identify pairs of muscles in the body. You can set up a simple experiment. You can test that experiment and you can explain what has been going on. Okay, so let's have a little bit more of an investigation. So here we've got our skeleton that we've been looking at over the last couple of weeks. Now on its own, the skeleton cannot move. It needs something to help it out. Okay, so how do skeletons move the body? Okay, have we got any ideas? Well, we know that your skeleton moves because of all the joints that you looked at last week. But actually, what makes the skeleton, what makes those individual bones move? If you wanted your leg to move, how would you do it? Would you have to think, oh, leg, move, and then your leg moves? Okay, doesn't really work like that. Okay, we need something else to help our bodies move. It's a big combination of different things that make you move from the smallest movement to the largest movement. Okay, and one part of this are your muscles. So what are muscles? What is a muscle in your body? Okay, so just have a look at this down the left-hand side to begin with. Your bodies are very, very complicated things. And your body is made up of lots and lots of different types of cells. So you have bone cells, blood cells, hair cells, eye cells, skin cells, all different types of cells in your body. Now those cells join together to make something called a tissue. Okay, so you have skin tissue, which is made up of skin cells. Okay, and this is the same with muscles. Muscles are made up of muscle cells, okay, and then they go together to make tissue. And then here you've got a little diagram of what actually is your upper and lower arm and the muscle that is in between. And muscles that join to the skeleton are called skeletal muscles, and they are just made up of muscle tissue. So that's showing you this here. So this is your humerus, your upper arm bone, and then your two lower arm bones there, and that muscle in between. Now, other parts of your body are made up of different types of cell. So something like your heart, which is an organ in your body, is made up of lots of different cells. Okay, so some of your heart is made up of muscle, but there's also nerve cells and other cells in there as well. But your skeletal muscle, so the muscle that's attached to your skeleton, is just made up of muscle cells and tissue. Okay, let's have a look what's behind here. There's a person, okay, showing all of the muscles of your body, okay, back and front. So underneath here, this picture of the man, you can just see some of the bones. Okay, so you can see the breastbone there, the sternum there, but these red tissue all over the top, that is muscle. Okay, those are all the muscles in your body. So even on your face, you have muscles, because if you didn't have muscles on your face, you couldn't frown and you couldn't smile and you couldn't talk, because the muscles are needed for all of your facial movements and expressions. Okay, you can see the muscles across your chest and arms going down across your tummies. This man has got quite good muscles, I think. And then big muscles in your legs, okay, in your thighs there. Okay, no muscles really down the front of your leg. And if you have a quick feel now, if you feel down the front of your leg, you can actually feel the bone there up to your kneecap. Oh, I forgot that one, didn't I, when we were going through the skeleton? But then if you go around to the back of your leg, you can feel where all the muscle is there, just showing here. And then this back view of the person, muscles all across your back, and then here into your bottoms, and then the backs of your legs there. So muscles covering the whole of your skeleton. So skeletal muscles are attached to the bones and enable movement. So these muscles are actually attached, they are joined to your bones. Okay, that's what you look like underneath, and the muscles are on top and attached to the bones of your skeleton. Some organs in your body have muscle tissue in them. So those are the organs in your body which have to move or move things around. So some of the organs in your body just do their job without having to move, but there are some organs in your body which have to cause a movement. Can you think about which organs those might be? Which organs in your body move? So definitely your heart. Your heart is a big pump, and actually it is mainly muscle. So that is pumping blood around your body all of the time. Okay. Also, your intestines and your stomach have a muscular lining that actually squeeze the food around your body. Another thing that your muscles can do, sometimes they move automatically on their own, and sometimes you want them to move. So some muscle movement is voluntary and we can control it. Okay, so if I wanted to reach for my cup of coffee, okay, I've sent some messages to my muscles for my brain to reach forwards and my muscles to pick up my mug. Okay, and that is me sending messages and wanting that to happen. There are other muscles that just do their job without really having to be told to. So your heart beats automatically. Okay, you don't have to keep telling your heart to beat. You don't have to keep thinking, oh, beat, beat, beat. Okay, it does it on its own. Okay, the same as your stomach pushing food around and your intestines pushing food around your bodies to get the nutrients out. Your muscles there do not have to be told to do that. They actually do that on their own. Okay, if you want to kick a football or run a race, you are actually making your muscles do that. You're telling your muscles that job to do. Okay, so on the daily post, you've got 2 little video clips to watch. Okay, so in a moment, pause this recording and watch those 2 video clips. But I want you to think about these 2 questions while you are watching them. So how do muscles move? What do they do? Okay, how do they make a bone move? Okay, so if my arm is straight, how do I bend my arm? What do the muscles do to make that happen? Okay, and you should find out something about muscles, how they work. There's another one here, question to think about: what words are used to describe this movement? Okay, so watch those 2 videos and hopefully be able to answer those questions. Okay, so pause this recording and watch those 2 videos. Okay, hopefully you've got lots of things that you found out in those 2 videos. So words like relaxing and contracting. Hopefully you also found out that muscles work in pairs. Okay, muscles work together, not just on their own. Okay, so some little activities for you to do in a moment. Okay, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for a moment so I can show you just a little experiment you can do first of all on your own. So if you have your arm, okay, out nice and straight, okay, I want you to concentrate on these muscles in your arm here. Okay, these are often ones that people want to build up to make big, strong muscles. So if you have your arm straight, what you're thinking about is this muscle on the top here, and then there's another muscle underneath here. This is called your bicep, and underneath is called your tricep. Okay, and this muscle here on the top is attached to your bone, okay, at the top here near your shoulder, and then just below your elbow. So if I want to bend my arm like this muscle here has contracted and shortened. And if you make a nice muscular arm, you should be able to feel that muscle there. It's got shorter and it's almost gone hard as it pulls your arm up. So it's pulled this bone up. Now at the same time, this muscle underneath, this one here, this has relaxed. Okay, this one is nice and floppy underneath because that has relaxed and got longer. Now, when I move my arm back down again, and you can try this, when you move your arm back down again, the opposite happens. So this muscle here will relax. So that one's gone floppy on the top, and underneath your muscles have contracted to let your arm down. So muscles work in pairs together. So any movement, think about your movements of your faces, everything you do, you've got muscles kind of working in pairs. And the one thing that muscles can do is they can pull bones, but they can't push. So again, if you go back to your arm, if I want to make my arm come up, this is pulling this bone. Okay, so it's pulled it up into that position. Okay, and then the opposite happens. This is pulling it down, again, in the opposite direction. Okay, just something for you to try. Maybe you could have a go on some of your other muscles in your body. Okay, so let's go back to the screen. So here we are. So you're going to do some different activities. You can do this one first of all, and then this is the activity that you've got to do on your sheets as well. So what I'd like you to do is to try to predict the muscles you think will be used for the activity before you do it, and then afterwards. So the activity you're going to do is to jump up and down. Okay, so just on this little screen here, maybe you could point to it on your screen. Which muscles do you think are going to be used for jumping up and down? Okay, do you think you're going to be using your face muscles? Do you think you're going to be using your arm or chest muscles? Do you think you're going to be using your leg muscles? Okay, which muscles do you think you're going to use for jumping up and down? Okay, have a think. Right, time for you to get moving. So, jump up and down for a little bit. Keep going. And a little bit more. Keep going. Okay, that will probably do. So, you should be able to feel which muscles you've been using. Which were the main muscles that you used to jump up and down? Okay, I know the girl in the picture, she seems to be using her arms as well. So maybe for your jumping up and down, you did use your arm muscles, in which case you could have circled those arms. But probably the muscles which you use the most to jump up and down are going to be all of the muscles in your legs. So from your thighs all the way down to your lower legs and your ankles and your feet. Okay, so you're definitely using the legs of your muscles. You might also use a little bit the muscles in your tummy area. Probably not so much the muscles in your face. Okay, so what you're now going to do, oh, my screen has frozen. Hang on a moment. I just have to go back to this one. Sorry, everybody, my screen has frozen. There we go. So on your sheet, you're going to complete the same thing again for running and reading. Okay, which muscles do you think you're going to be using for running? So think about it first of all and circle the muscles on your sheet that you think you will use. And then get up and get active, do some running on the spot for a few minutes. And then you should be able to feel which muscles you've used, and you can circle them on the second diagram. And then what about reading a book? Which muscles do you think you're going to use? Make a prediction. And then once you've done a little bit of reading, maybe circle the muscles that you have used for reading. Okay, are you able to think about which muscles you've used? Have they been working in pairs? Have you been able to say which ones would contract and which ones would relax? For your Go Deep and Go Deeper today, there's a little bit of an extra explanation. So can you explain how muscles work? Okay, maybe you'd like to do a diagram of your arm and explain how the muscles there work. You could label it. You could use those words like contract and relax. And then the Go Deeper today, can you think of another activity and describe the muscles which you use? So there are some activities which use so many muscles in the body. Something like swimming uses a lot of muscles. Can you think of an activity that only uses a very few muscles in the body? Okay, thank you everybody. I hope you enjoyed our science topic for this term. Okay, and you'll be able to find out what we're doing in our new topic after half term. Thanks for listening, everybody.